The Taoiseach's reply to Deputy Kenny is very loyal and is very good for Fianna Fáil morale. I think we all know, Taoiseach, that you can lead Fianna Fáil. The question is, can you lead the country? And this country now needs new leadership. The position that the Taoiseach is in the tribunal is one that has moved from benefit of the doubt to incredulity. It's embarrassing, and it's moving on to ridicule. And it cannot go on. The country needs to move on from this. And it's perfectly plain, Taoiseach, I mean, it's all very well to say that, you know, let the tribunal finish its work and hear out all of the evidence. But we've moved from a situation where, I mean, how many stories have we to hear? Didn't have a bank account, Minister for Finance and Accountant. He was so poor, even on a ministerial salary, that there had to be whip-arounds in a pub in Manchester for him. And at the same time, we now know that there are accounts, some of which were controlled by some of the dig-out men, from which a loan for a house could be granted. The lodgements made to his account, tribunal says it was dollars. He says he is a banker that can prove it wasn't dollars. And when the tribunal come looking for the evidence, he goes to court to stop them getting the calculations on which he bases his claim. He comes before this House and says he's tax compliant, tells the people in a television interview that he's paid all his taxes, and he can't get a tax clearance certificate. Now, any one of those, you know, we can all stretch our credulity so far, and we could say, well, maybe. But all of them, the Taoiseach's position in terms of public credibility and in terms of political authority now is just untenable. And he's clearly not going to go voluntarily, clearly intends to brazen it out. We don't have the numbers on this side of the House, as we saw in the motion of confidence, to force him to go. The Green Party are clearly not going to exercise whatever political position that they have to cause it to happen. And it falls to you. Now, I'm not naive enough to expect that you're going to come into the House and tell us that, yes, you will go to the Taoiseach and bring him the bad news and advise him about what he must now do. But I expect you to do it. And I expect to be able to interpret whatever answer you give here in the House as some kind of a signal that you are going to do it. Because this can't go on forever. Politics in this country and the business of government has got to be enabled to return to the issues of the people. And for as long as Mr. Ahern is before the tribunal and giving the kind of unbelievable explanations, we are in the dog ate my homework territory on this. And we do need some firm leadership. And the only person who can now provide that leadership is yourself, Taoiseach.
Captain Gilmore, did you get a mortgage from him?
He broke his word.
Captain Gilmore, no interruption.
I agree with the Taoiseach. I agree with the Taoiseach that the holding of political office has nothing to do with guilt or innocence. The tribunal, in its own good time, will reach its conclusions about whether or not Mr. Ahern received a corrupt payment. The Revenue Commissioners, in their own good time, will reach their own conclusions about his tax compliance. Holding of political office isn't about guilt or innocence. Holding of political office is about confidence. And we are now in a situation where confidence in this Taoiseach cannot continue in circumstances where he has given the most incredible of explanations to the tribunal. And this man here, as you describe him, Deputy Kenny, didn't invent this. And my predecessor didn't invent it, and I didn't invent it. When these issues arose in the public domain, we took the view, and we've been criticised for it, that the Taoiseach would give his evidence to the tribunal. That's what he said he wanted to do. He said he wanted to go to Dublin Castle, explain all of this, that he had an explanation for it, that he supplied them with all of the documents, etc. And when he got to Dublin Castle, we discovered a couple of things. We discovered, first of all, that he wasn't quite as fulsome in cooperating with the tribunal as he had claimed to be. They've been writing to him for a year and a half to extract information from him. Secondly, we, over a series now of appearances in Dublin Castle, he has given the most cockeyed of explanations for various things. Now, as I said earlier, you can buy one of them. You can buy one of these stories. But trying to buy them all, and particularly trying to buy them, given the contradictions which are now emerging as between one and another, is just unbelievable. And it's going to go on. And it's not good for the country that it is continuing. It's bad for politics, it's bad for the way we do our business, it's bad for the attention which requires to be given to the issues of the people. Now, you said something yesterday, Taoiseach, on television. You said that it wasn't your practice to talk to the Taoiseach about his evidence at the tribunal before he gave his evidence, and I accept that. Wouldn't expect you to have that kind of conversation with him. But earlier this year, he designated you as his successor. And I want to ask you, have you had any conversation with him about when that designation will take place? Whatever about me believing that you didn't talk to him about his evidence at the tribunal, I can't believe that you haven't had that conversation with him. And in case you tell us, because I won't have an opportunity of asking a second supplementary to this, in case you tell us that this is none of our business, that the leadership of Fianna Fáil is your business and that you'll decide it in your own good time, may I remind you that it is this House which elects the Taoiseach. And we now have a set of circumstances where the current occupant of that office has said that he is going to resign at some stage, that he's going to pass on the mantle to you, and I want to know, when is that going to happen? Because while he's brazening out the political difficulties that he now has with the tribunal, I think that this country, frankly, is just getting increasingly scandalised by it all, and I think it has to end.